There's nothing better than waking up completely rested after a good night's sleep. But there are almost 70 million people in the United States who never know what a good night's sleep feels like. Maybe you or someone you know has a sleep disorder like insomnia, sleep deprivation, narcolepsy, or sleep apnea. If you do, I have good news. Sleep disorders can be treated successfully right here in Conemaugh Sleep Disorder Center, located at the Lee campus in downtown Johnstown, or at Miners Medical Center in Hastings. I spoke with the director of the center, Dr. Seymour McCool, about the risks associated with sleep disorders, specifically sleep apnea.
Quality sleep, is very important for your health. It's not only about giving you a good quality sleep, also about your medical issues. People with the sleep apnea, they have a higher risk of heart disease, heart attacks, hypertension, strokes. Also, patients with sleep apnea, which is not treated, they are a higher risk of having mood disorders and car accidents.
Sleep apnea can be a dangerous condition, and you may have it but not realize it. Why? Because the illness only shows itself while you're asleep. Here's what happens. You fall asleep, and unknown to you, the muscles in your airway lose muscle tone and begin to collapse. You start to snore at first, but eventually the airway collapses completely, cutting you off from life-sustaining oxygen. Your brain notices this, and after 30 or 40 seconds, causes you to wake up. Not completely, but enough for you to gasp for breath. These actions repeat over and over again, maybe 500 times each night. No wonder you wake up exhausted. Can anyone have sleep apnea?
Any person could have a sleep apnea. You could see it in children's. You can see it in adults, men or women. We do estimate that sleep apnea do affect 24% of men and 9% of women, even though the people who are diagnosed only represent 10% of the whole populations. You would consider sleep apnea is a very common disease, which is undiagnosed, as we said. It's more common than diabetes, more common than asthma, but again, there's only 10% of those people are diagnosed and treated.
Alan Myers from New Germany was tired all the time, to the point that it was ruining his life.
Well, I think the most prominent thing was while I was driving, I would fall asleep. And I actually hit the guardrails a few times. And if we were going on vacation, it was a constant vigil with my family to make sure Dad stayed awake. And then, of course, throughout the night, my wife would poke me and say, start to breathe, you're not breathing, and wake up or quit snoring. And that affected not only me, but her as well. I work alone. I'm in a building by myself, and I would go to work and be on the computer and get my best sleep of the day in my chair because I was sitting up. But it was kind of embarrassing when a customer would come in and they had to wake me up, or they would turn around and leave. So it really affected my work. It affected my health as far as weight gain goes. I would wake up every morning with a tremendous headache. And my quality of life was really poor, and it was deteriorating the older I got and the heavier I got. So I thought it was time I had done something to fix that problem.
Most people are asymptomatic, and they come and refer to us because their bed partner has complained about their snoring or sleeping habits. But some of the symptoms would include early morning headache, dryness of their mouth, being sleepy at daytime, fatigued, or sometimes having irregular heartbeats.
I knew that there was a sleep apnea clinic and that I had it, but I was afraid to go to the test. I don't like to sit still. Believe it or not, even though I did sleep during the day, I like to be up and moving, and I'm kind of an anxious person, and I didn't like the idea of having all the wires connected to me and being confined to a bedroom. And if I would wake up at home, I would have to get up and walk around or something. So that test terrified me.
Symptoms are not enough to diagnose sleep apneas. Most of the time, you need to come in to the sleep lab for a sleep studies, which include monitoring wave brainforms, eye movement, respiratory efforts, heartbeats, oxygen level, and leg movements. All those data have been monitored by a technician in a different room through a computer. And when you analyze all those data, you'll be able to tell if a patient has a sleep apnea or different sleep disorder.
Maybe you're tired all the time too. Maybe you're even considering calling Conemaugh Sleep Disorder Center, but you're not sure what a sleep study involves. Let's take a look.
Well, they usually come in. We take them to their room that we assign them to. We go over some paperwork. After that, then we go ahead and we proceed to get them ready for bed. Different leads on their head, belts around their chest and their abdomen, leg leads on, probe on their finger for the oxygen. We put airflow sensor under their nose, and then we get them in bed. And then we have them lay there, and then we go out to the computer and we make sure all the leads we put on are working okay. And we ask them several questions just to make sure. And then we come in and we ask them, to go ahead and go to sleep or try to relax and go to sleep. And then we watch for their different sleep stages. As they go to sleep, we watch to see if they're having any kind of arousals that we see in the brainwaves. And then if they are having arousals, we check and see, is it because of a respiratory problem? Is it because their legs are moving? Is it because they're just snoring? And then we check their oxygen, their heart rate, and their rhythm, and different things like that.
They hooked me up and I fell right to sleep, and Jim came in and woke me up at 5 in the morning and said, "You're done, go home." And it was great because I knew right then it was wonderful because I slept like a log the entire time I was there. Didn't hear a thing. So it was great. And it's been like that ever since I wore the mask. I used to dread going to bed. And now I look forward to getting in bed and going to sleep,
And if the study determines that you have sleep apnea, what's next? Is there a way to treat it?
There are multiple ways of treating sleep apnea, and that would depend on the result of the sleep studies. Sometimes weight loss would be good enough. Sometimes what's called positional therapy, when they sleep in a different position, might help with their sleep apneas. Most of the time, they need a treatment with the Cpap. Cpap is a device would give people pressure at nighttime and keep their airways open, and that would ensure that they have enough oxygen level and enough oxygen flow to their lungs throughout the night.
If you get used to it, if you take it home and you wear it for a few hours each day or even 5 minutes to start and get used to the mask, once you put that mask on, and get the air going through your lungs, it's comfortable. I mean, you don't want to do without it. You really don't.
A patient after 20, 30 years of not having a good quality of sleep and having a low oxygen level at nighttime, suddenly they would recognize what a deep stage of sleep would mean, what a good quality of sleep would mean.
Well, it's made a big change. I have more energy. I get up early every morning. I'm waiting for the sun to come up so the dogs and I can go for walks out in the woods. I have more energy. I don't fall asleep at work. I'm constantly doing something at work. And when I sit down in my chair to do computer work, I'm wide awake. Hopefully, I'll lose a lot of weight. I've already lost like 8 pounds. But just being more active, I think will change my life.
Our sleep lab has built with an intention for a patient to be able to come in here and have a good, comfortable night. The staff are very professional. They would help you out in setting up a very good and comfortable night. This would be one night, but would help you on the long run for years and years in terms of your daytime symptoms, would decrease your risk of having heart attack, strokes, diabetes mellitus, uncontrolled hypertension, and mood disorder. It's one night, but would give you a help for many years to come.
One night which would give you health for many years to come. Do you or a loved one have the symptoms of sleep apnea? Don't let another sleepless night lead to drowsy days and maybe even heart disease, heart attacks, hypertension, and stroke. Have your primary care physician refer you to the Conemaugh Sleep Disorder Center. If you work nights, they can set up a daytime sleep study just for you.
It's made a big difference. I wished I would have done it 25 years ago.
We want to thank Alan and the experts at the Conemaugh Sleep Disorders Center. And thank you for watching. Pleasant dreams.